can want it with everything in you. You can dream about it, write it down, speak affirmations every morning. But none of that means a thing if you're not willing to put in the work. Life doesn't care about what you want. It only responds to what you're willing to fight for. Wanting something is easy. Everybody wants to be successful, to be great, to be remembered. But very few people are willing to go through the pain, the process, and the pressure that greatness demands. It's easy to be motivated when everything is going right, when the path is clear, when you're winning, when people are cheering. But what happens when it's hard? What happens when it's lonely, when it hurts, when nobody is watching? That's when life asks the real question, how bad do you want it? And the only acceptable answer is action. Not just once, but day after day. Not just when it's convenient, but when it's inconvenient. Because if you're only committed when it's comfortable, you're not really committed, you're just interested. See, the fight isn't always physical, it's mental. It's spiritual. It's waking up early when your body says sleep. It's showing up to practice, to work, to the gym when your mind says not today. It's saying no to distractions, to comfort, to excuses. It's sacrificing things people will never see for a result they may never fully understand. The fight is silent. The fight is lonely, but it's necessary. Everybody wants to be a lion until it's time to do what lions do. Lions don't negotiate with their environment, they dominate it. That's what fighting for something means. It means not waiting for opportunity, but creating it. It means refusing to let life push you around. It means choosing discipline over desire. It means having a reason so deep, so rooted in who you are, that no amount of resistance can knock you off course. You're not always going to feel like it, that's a fact. But feelings are fleeting, purpose is permanent. When you fight for something bigger than yourself, a dream, a calling, a purpose, you move differently. You stop blaming, stop waiting, stop wishing. You move, you grind, you fight. Because deep down you understand life doesn't respond to the dreamer. It responds to the doer, to the one who's willing to pay the price. Most people let life happen to them. They react to circumstances, adjust to pressure, and fold under resistance. But the ones who rise, the ones who create impact, change, and legacy, they don't just go with the flow. They step into adversity with intention. They don't let the situation dictate who they are. They show the situation who they already decided to be. When you impose your will, you're no longer a victim of your environment. You don't let a bad day turn into a bad week. You don't let one failure write your whole story. You don't let rejection define your value. You take control, not of everything around you, but of the one thing you always have power over, yourself, your effort, your attitude, your response. That's where your power lives. That's where your fight begins. See, life will test you. It's going to throw storms at you that you didn't see coming. You'll lose people. You'll fail at things you gave your all to. You'll have moments where it feels like the weight is too heavy to carry. And in those moments, the situation will try to shape you. It'll try to tell you who you are. Weak, broken, done. But if you've made the decision to impose your will, then you talk back to the situation with your action. You say, nah, I don't break here. I build here. Imposing your will doesn't mean life gets easier. It means you get stronger. It means you show up on the days it doesn't make sense. It means you control what you can control and trust the process for the rest. It means that no matter how big the storm, you show up with your values intact, your vision clear, and your heart full. People who impose their will don't wait for permission. They don't wait for ideal conditions. They create opportunity in chaos. They find clarity in confusion. They find strength in struggle. It's a mindset, a refusal to quit no matter what's thrown at them when things fall apart. They lock in. They look the situation in the eye and say, I'm not leaving. I'm not giving up. I'm not backing down. That kind of posture changes things. It changes outcomes. Because situations are temporary, but the strength of your will, that's permanent. That's what carries you when talent isn't enough, when motivation runs out, when the hype fades. That inner drive, that unshakable decision to impose your will is what separates people who go through life from people who grow through life. You don't get to choose your battles, but you do get to choose how you face them. So, the next time life tries to bend you, remind it, you don't bend easy. Stand firm. Lock in. Impose your will. Most people fear setbacks. They see failure as final. They think when something goes wrong, when life knocks them down, when the plan falls apart, that it's the end of the road. But in reality, setbacks are not the thing that breaks you. They're the thing that reveals you. They show you who you really are. When everything is stripped away, the titles, the comfort, the routine, all that's left is your character. That's when the truth comes out. You don't know what you're made of when everything is easy. You find out in the struggle. You find out when your back is against the wall. You find out when the lights go out and there's no crowd, no applause, no one checking for you. That's where identity is built, in the quiet, in the pain, in the process. The setback is not there to stop you. It's there to expose what needs to be strengthened. And if you can recognize that, you'll stop fearing adversity and start respecting it. Because pain is a teacher, disappointment is a mirror. And failure is a filter. It separates the ones who are only in it when it's easy from the ones who are in it for real. The setback will ask you questions like, do you really believe in what you said you believe in? Is your work ethic real, or was it based on convenience? Is your faith in your talent, or is your faith in your purpose? Those aren't questions you get answered during victory. Those are questions answered in the fire. I remember Inky Johnson saying the process will always test you before it blesses you. That stuck with me. Because it's easy to post quotes, wear the hoodie, talk the talk. But what happens when the test comes? That's when you see whether you're committed or just curious. Whether you're in it for the hype or the heart. When the setback comes, and it will, that's not the time to fold. That's the time to lean in. That's the time to say, all right, let's go. Let me show you what I'm made of. Because every great story has a turning point, a moment where it looked like it was over, but it wasn't. The difference was that person didn't quit. They embraced the setback. They used it. You see, what breaks some people builds others. The difference isn't in the situation, it's in the response. So if you're facing something tough right now, hear me. This is your revealing season. This is where your growth lives. You may not like it, it may hurt, but trust that it's making you. Every tear, every trial, every detour. It's all shaping the version of you that's built to last. Don't run from the setback. Learn from it. Grow through it. Let it reveal the warrior in you, the version of you that refuses to break. The greatest battle you will ever face in your life isn't with another person, an obstacle, or even your circumstances. It's with yourself. The real war is internal. It's between who you are right now and who you're capable of becoming. That's the fight. And until you win that battle within, nothing outside will ever truly change. Because your mindset, your discipline, your belief system, that's what sets the tone for everything else in your life. It's easy to blame your environment. It's easy to point fingers at the lack of resources, the unfairness, the people who walked out or let you down. But growth doesn't come from excuses, it comes from ownership. You've got to look in the mirror and be honest. Are you showing up as your best self, or are you letting fear, doubt, and comfort keep you average? Are you choosing to evolve, or are you settling for easy? The hardest person to hold accountable is the one in the mirror. Why? Because we lie to ourselves better than anybody else can. We say things like, I'll start tomorrow, I'm doing my best, it's just not my time yet. But deep down, we know when we're playing small. We know when we're cutting corners, when we're procrastinating, when we're letting our emotions run the show instead of our principles. That's why the battle within is so critical, because it's constant and it's silent. Every day you wake up, you have a choice. Will I discipline my mind, or will I let it drift? Will I control my emotions, or will I let them control me? Will I stay committed to the process, or will I give in to temporary feelings? These questions are where the real game is won. Not in the spotlight, not on stage, but in the quiet moments when nobody's watching and the decision is yours alone. When you learn to conquer yourself, everything else becomes possible, because you stop being reactive. You stop being tossed around by circumstances. You start operating from purpose, not pressure. You start choosing actions that align with your goals, not just your mood. And that consistency, that's what leads to power, not the kind that shouts, the kind that endures, the kind that doesn't flinch under pressure, the kind that can't be shaken by failure. Most people are fighting to look strong on the outside, but real strength is internal. It's doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. It's waking up early, locking in, pushing through doubt, and choosing growth again and again. The ones who make it, the ones who rise, are not the most talented. They're the most disciplined. They've learned how to win that internal war. So if you want to change your life, start by mastering your mindset, master your habits, master your self-talk. Because once you conquer you, the world doesn't stand a chance. There's something powerful about a person who just keeps showing up. Not the loudest, not the flashiest, not even the most talented, but the one who refuses to quit. The one who shows up when it's hard, when it's boring, when it's painful, when there's no crowd, no praise, no guarantee of a win. That kind of consistency, that's rare. That's special. And that's what separates the ones who talk about it from the ones who become it. The truth is, success isn't built on big moments. It's built in the mundane, in the repetition, in the quiet grind that nobody claps for. Anybody can show up when they feel good. Anybody can work hard when it's easy. But when life gets heavy, when your body's tired, when your mind is screaming, not today, what do you do then? That's the difference maker. That's the fork in the road. Most people shrink back in those moments. They take the day off, hit snooze, say, I'll do it tomorrow. But the ones who win, they show up anyway. You have to understand, progress doesn't always feel like progress. Some days you'll feel stuck. Some days you'll feel like nothing is working. But if you keep showing up to the work, to the discipline, to the standard you set, something starts to shift. You build momentum. You build resilience. You build a track record of effort that compounds over time. And eventually that mountain you thought you couldn't climb, you look back and realize you've already covered miles. Most people underestimate the power of small, consistent steps. They chase the big win, the overnight success, the instant breakthrough, but real growth happens slow. It's forged in faithfulness, in choosing to keep going when there's no proof it's working yet. That's how legacies are built. That's how confidence is earned. Every time you show up when it's hard, you prove to yourself that you're not a slave to your feelings. You're led by your commitment. Let's be real. You won't always be motivated. That's not a weakness. That's being human. But that's where discipline kicks in. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is a fire. And showing up daily, especially when it's hard, is what keeps that fire burning. That's where the breakthroughs live, just past the point where most people stop. So keep showing up for your goals, for your growth, for the future version of you that's counting on you not to quit. Even if it's messy, even if you're tired, even if progress feels invisible. Because the act of showing up is a statement. I'm still in the fight. I'm still locked in. I still believe. And if you can keep showing up through the pain, through the pressure, through the process, You will outlast the doubt. You will outwork the failure, and you will become everything you were born to be.